And there's some very interesting things, but I bet you don't know anything about it because it has had absolutely no publicity whatsoever because this government is disowning it because I would imagine it's too woke for them. You know, it's not about we won the Second World War, hurrah, and showing the dam busters 24 hours a day. It's not that. Something completely different. And you should look it up because it's all over the country and there's lots of really interesting things. I want to go to the one in Weston-super-Mare. That's going to open pretty soon. That looks very interesting. And there's a thing that I've done already, which was absolutely amazing. But I hesitate to tell you about it because I want to go again. And tickets are pretty hard to get by. Not to get by, but the tickets are pretty hard to get. When I booked it initially, it was easy peasy, but I think the word got round and suddenly everybody and their dog wanted to go to this thing. But it's in London at the moment and it will shortly go to Cardiff and Edinburgh to coincide with the Edinburgh Festival. There may be another location in there as well. And all right then, I'm going to tell you about it. It's called Dream Machine. Look it up on the World Wide Web. I double dare you. It really is astounding. I'm going to go again. I can't wait. It's a recreation of something I think that was invented in the 60s. And now this might not sound like it's much, but believe me. You sit in a darkened room and there's groovy music which was done by... John Hopkins. He does like sort of ambient music.
Groovy.
And you close your eyes and they put like stroboscope lights in the room directly at your face. And through your eyelids, you see the light coming in. And then your brain takes over and creates... It's like a brief 25-minute trip. With no assistance from the outside.
Want to score some pot?
Not necessary. It really is astounding. Look it up. Dream Machine with one M in the middle. Like I said, it's in London for about another month, and then it goes to Cardiff and Edinburgh to coincide with the festival there. It's just. Because they put you through this big thing that it's sort of like they're preparing you to be sent to space, and you think, God, it's a bit much. There's no way this is going to be anything, and I was pretty sceptical when I went in, but it just blew me away. It is amazing, and I'll say it one more time: Dream Machine with one M in the middle, and then you can go along and you can thank me later. No, wait, I've changed my mind. You can thank me now.
Thank you.
Crayford. Hello, Terry.
Hi, Nick. I think I've cracked what Bodge is going to do.
Just before you say that, just one more thing that I should repeat is that it's about the festival, which is happening all up and down the country. It's not concentrated in London at all. It's up and down, and it's called Unboxed. They got their own website. You should check it out for whatever's happening in your area, because the government ain't going to tell you about it because they're too embarrassed, because it was going to be called the Brexit Festival, but they couldn't think of anything good to say about about Brexit, so they just ignored the entire thing. It's called Unboxed. It's very good. And it's free. Free.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Anyway, back to Bodge. I think what he's going to do is actually rename the country.
Boris Island.
No, I think he's going to call it the Big Dog Kingdom.
The Big Dog Kingdom.
Or the Great Johnsonian Isles.
Or the Big Dog Mess.
Yeah. Yeah, like, you know.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. All right. Good suggestion, Terry, but unfortunately not. No. No prize there. There is no prize available on this show. Thanks, Terry. 0345 6060 973. Apara tweets, will Bozo declare a religious war on the Jubilee? Not to my knowledge. No, that's not it. No. I think it's pretty shameful, actually, that this government sort of washed its hands of the festival that they brought up. They suggested that it should happen, a Brexit festival to celebrate Brexit. It's just that they were embarrassed that they couldn't find anything to celebrate. Not one single thing. Companies going out of business, and the destruction of the fishing community is not really something to celebrate. A mountain of red tape that has been visited upon our industry is not really something to have a float about. So they couldn't think of anything, and so they pretended that they didn't say it. Because you haven't heard them say one word, have you? Not since. Not for several months now. Nothing. So they've disowned the entire thing, and they're pretending that they never said anything about it in the first place, despite the fact that they blurted it out. I don't know, maybe they were drunk at the time.
Booze.
They said maybe it was like a post-party thing. Oh, I know, let's have a Brexit festival. Woo! They just piled out of another business meeting, and they came up with that. Michael Gove said,
a major capital letters, big news story.
Let's have a Brexit festival, he said. But they couldn't think of anything to do with it, and so they ignored it. And then the creatives took over. And there's some really, really interesting things. It's called Unboxed. Look it up on an internet near you. Karen texts, he's going to resign and join the EU. Nope. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's maintaining a dual passport to let him go live in France with his daddy. Anita says, I got it. Seeing that he likes dressing up, he'll come dressed as the Queen for a photo shoot. Put on the Queen's clothes and do her job. Mooch says, is he announcing a new bank holiday? No. It's much, much more embarrassing than that. I mean, it's toe-curlingly embarrassing. And it's to appeal to a certain demographic. Can you think what it might be? 0345 6060 973. It's been waiting the longest. Let's have a look. Harrow, Herbie.
Good evening.
Yes, Herbie.
Nick, I'm already confused.com, and you're confusing me even more, sir, by saying that the nights are going to get shorter as from the 21st of June.
Sorry to say that.
Longer.
Yeah,
You
unfortunately.
did. You did.
Yeah.
Are you going insane as well? Have you had too much of Boris?
Insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. It's true, Herbie.
It must be. Confused.com, you've got me going.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, look it up in your diary. I'm afraid it's true. It always comes around too quick, doesn't it? But I suppose it is 6 full months after the, of Christmas. Just before Christmas is when we get the shortest day, and then it starts to get longer again. Of course, that doesn't mean that winter's over. It means that winter's barely begun and hasn't stopped yet, apparently. Hasn't actually stopped yet. We're still in winter. I'm still thinking about putting the heating on in the house. And I don't care if I can afford it or not. They can throw me out. I need my warmth. Bodmin. Hello, Malcolm.
Yes.
Malcolm.
Hello.
Yes, Malcolm.
Nick, how you doing, mate?
All right,
Nick,
thanks.
The breaking news, first of all. The breaking news is that Gove fights to save the PM's skin.
Does he?
That's on the front page of the Sunday Express tomorrow, my friend.
On the Sunday
Michael
Express.
Gove.
Right. Michael Gove is going to fight to save Boris Johnson's skin. Anybody believe that?
No.
Now, if you were Boris, who else would you prefer to have saving your skin? Could be Gove, isn't it? Nick, on the Friday announcement, and I think it'll happen, and if this isn't the plan at the moment, it will be when Bojo listens back to the podcast of this show. I think he's going to announce a cabinet reshuffle, and he's going to put name tags of all his ministers on the cabinet table, and he's going to ask everybody to take one step to the right, because 3 steps to the right, because one step isn't enough, and that's the new post they'll have.
Right, I think it'll be much more formal than that. I think he will ask them what is the area in which they have no experience or knowledge, and then he'll give them that post.
Well, I was about to say he'll move them so that they can be as equally unsuitable for the new post as they are for the ones that they've got. But some examples might be Nadine Dorris to Foreign Secretary,
Mm-hmm.
Priti Patel possibly to Media and Culture,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I think a cabinet shuffle, Nick.
Right, is the wrong answer, but thanks for playing. 0345 6060 973. Joe texts, on Friday at 4 p.m, Bodge is going to announce it's Wine Time Friday, with cheese too. Or some other dairy product. No? Well, yes, of course, but no. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Shut up.
I can't. 0345 6060 973. Rona text, you referenced the Watusi in your podcast with Carol, but you couldn't remember where you'd heard it. Yeah, I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
You're joking.
No, I do. It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol, in which Carol and I try to solve people's problems while guffawing like seals. It comes out on Monday. It's an hour's worth of amusement. I think you'll love it. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? And if you want us to have a bash at your issue, simply send it to the following address: nickandcarol@global.com. nickandcarol@global.com, and be prepared for total satisfaction.
Yeah.
It's on Global Player. Global Player you can get off for your device on Android and Apple. And ask for it by name. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? Anyway, Rona says, on that, the last one that's available, the Watusi, I mentioned the Watusi. Could it have been the fabulous Land of a Thousand Dances by Wilson Pickett? Wilson Wicket Pickett. Do the Watusi like My Little Lucy. I know the lyrics as my husband plays it in his band, says Rona.
Rock and roll!
She's got rock and roll in her life. Do the Watusi. I'm doing the Watusi right now, as a matter of fact. I'm multitasking. Carnforth. Hey, Penny.
Hey up, Nick. You unpatriotic traitor person going on holiday in a foreign country when you could have been holidaying in Great Britain.
I know. Yeah.
What were you thinking?
In the cold and the rain. I can't tell you how hot it was in Spain. It was baking. I loved it.
Well, you should have been up here today. It was blooming hot up here. We were sat in the garden in the sun.
Nonsense.
We were, honestly.
Rubbish. I don't believe a word of it. It was freezing down here.
Well, no, it was nice here today. It was a bit cold yesterday. It was quite windy yesterday, but today is no wind and sun.
Blimey.
And our garden's a bit of a sun trap, so we just sat out and it was nice.
Well, that's with the flora and the fauna.
Yes, and some new fish. Very exciting, actually.
Fish?
Went out yesterday.
Fish?
Yes, to get some fish. And I got 6. And our old fish, which are much bigger.
We're talking about live fish, not frozen.
Live fish, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yes, not dead fish. Not fish to cook.
Right.
No, so I went and got 3 ones that are called shabumpkins.
Shabumpkins?
Shabumpkins.
There's no such thing. You're making it up.
No. I'm sure it's shabumpkins.
Shabumpkin. I think that's a dance like the Watusi, isn't it?
They're actually...
First of all, you shake your shabumpkin. Yeah.
Yes, they're a type of goldfish, but they're apparently, according to the bloke in the nursery, they're a poor man's version of a koi carp because they're all different colours.
Yeah.
So they're very pretty, and
I'm looking at a picture of one right now, as a matter of fact, that my glamorous assistant has just popped up out of nowhere, and it's red and yellow and green and blue, purple and orange and brown.
Yes, yeah, they're very nice. But our fish have been behaving quite oddly since then. They've been patrolling the perimeter of the pond because it's round, with the 2 biggest ones in front and 3 other ones, the smaller ones, behind.
Well, like a fly past. It's a fly past for Her Majesty.
A fish past. I think they're just sort of letting the new upstarts know that it's their pond. And
right. So it's actually like the exercise yard in a prison.
Yes.
They're going around in a gang.
Yes, because normally they don't go around like that. They sometimes go around in pairs together, but they don't. It was very odd. They were all in a line and all following each other, the 2 biggest ones at the front.
Were they clicking their fingers like that as they went along, like the Jets and the Sharks? Da-da-da-da-da,
Yeah, so that was my excitement for the year, was getting some new fish.
Well, there's another 6 months to go there, Annie. Don't worry about it. Something will come along.
What I did ring up about was I'm not saying that I think Putin would be doing this on Friday, but I'm Putin. God, that's a slip of the tongue. Bodger. But I bet you he'll try and do something like change the law, like Putin did, so that he can just remain prime minister, if not president, forever.
Yeah.
Elected dictator.
I would be surprised.
He's well on his way to that, isn't he, really?
Of course. Everything that he says or does is a further indication that he thinks that it's his gift to us that he should rule forever.
Forever and ever, like in the Messiah. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, because he's already changed the ministerial code, isn't he? To take out the word of integrity, seeing as he hasn't got any or any of that.
He's changed it to find himself innocent of any charges in the past, the present, or the future.
Yes, and aren't they trying to do something to get rid of judicial review as well, so that the public have got no comeback against government policy ever?
Yeah, exactly right. So that those activist lawyers and enemy of the people judges don't interfere with the dear leader's progress.
Yes, I mean, he's definitely on the way to being an elected dictator. So I do
but
think
people have been yelling about this for years. I know I have.
Yeah, me too. So I think he'll definitely try and do a Putin and
he'll do a Donald Trump
himself forever.
It's a Donald Trump is what he's trying to do. Every single thing that this regime do can be seen through the prism of what would Donald Trump do, always.
Yes, because if they do lose the next election, he'll probably contest it like Trump did and just say, it was, rigged.
Yes. It's not what the people want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, or just... although I don't think the Brits are quite that crazy to go and storm the Houses of Parliament, although you never know.
You never know, yeah. Anything is possible in the next 3 years.
They're probably a bit too old, though, Bodgers fans.
Well, that is true.
Possibly.
Yeah, that is true. And they wouldn't be they wouldn't arm themselves with semi-automatic machine guns.
No.
It'd be more like strollers and Zimmer frames, that kind of thing.
Yes, electric
which can give you quite a bruise if it's wielded right.
Oh yes, electric wheelchair, not wheelchair, electric scooters.
Yeah, run you right
quite
over.
Lethal. They can do quite a lick, can't they?
They certainly can. It's quite alarming how fast they go.
Yes.
I rode on one myself, just testing it out, and freaked me out how fast it went.
I've never been on one, but I have seen them whizzing along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those crazy old people.
Yeah, definitely.
No, that ain't it, Annie, but good suggestion. Thanks for that. And I hope you're happy with your fish. If not, you can always eat them. I mean, that's the benefit of having fish as a pet. If they really upset you, just fry them. No problem. Dan tweets David says, the crime minister's role model is supposed to be Churchill. I can't imagine Churchill being stupid enough to be ambushed by cake, balloons, party poppers and dozens of bottles of champagne. Well, I'm not sure about the champagne part. He did like that, but not the party poppers and the cake bit. Almost certainly. Paul tweets rather late in the day, The Princess Diaries is a great film with Anne Hathaway, but it might be a bit too happy a film for you. Well, how happy is it? Is it this happy? Or is it this happy? Because if it's that happy, then it's a no from me. Daryl says, Bodger clinging on is just embarrassing now. He needs to step aside. He needs to robustly step aside and let deck chair Dom have a go. No. What, angular, tetchy humanoid, deck chair Dominic?
Affirmative.
No. No, there has to be somebody else. There must be somebody else. Surely. That's the alarming thing. Is like, which one would you choose? I mean, if it's not him anymore, who would it be? Who would actually be better from, the current lineup? Maybe he's the least worst option. Just stay there and hope he doesn't do anything, I was going to say doesn't do anything silly, but I think that ship's sailed and sunk. What else? More suggestions about what it is he's going to say. John says, Boris is going to announce Friday that every household is to get a free Spitfire. A free Spitfire. Is he going to appear on EastEnders, says Ian. Dave says, Johnson's announcement will be that all food banks will now be flying the Union Jack. Well, I'm kind of surprised that they haven't made it the law that all buildings over a certain size or houses with a certain number of bedrooms must by law now fly the Union flag and have a picture of the dear leader on the wall just above the mantelpiece. No, it ain't that either. 0345 6060 973. Boris Johnson has a big announcement on Friday. Very, very big. He's going to try and take some of the limelight away from Her Majesty because, that's the kind of fella he is. He's trying to inveigle his way back into our affections. And he has a big, big announcement. Huge. What could it be?
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Yeah!
Do you mind if I say a few words? Thank you.
Tom tweets, Bodge will instruct the Royal Mint to have £1 coins cast in his image. Nope. Johnny says, I'm supposed to be flying to Madrid on Tuesday to see the Stones European Tour opening night, but I've come down with a stinker of a cold. What should I do? Let's see.
Stop whining.
You could try that. I would go. I mean, what's the problem? Stinker of a cold. I mean, it's on Tuesday. You got days to recover, Johnny. Just take in lots of water and just stop whining. You'll be fine. Thing is, you'll go there and you'll have a good time. You might feel a little bit under the weather, but you'll remember the concert. You won't remember that you had a cold. See, that's the thing. So just do it. But what would be a good thing to do for the benefit of your fellow passengers is to wear a mask on the plane. That would be polite. Always be polite.
Be polite!
Or he'll kill you. 0345 6060 973. Mark says, I reckon Bojo will surprise us all by hosting a new series of the of the weakest link. Yeah, we found the weakest link, Bodge. We know where that weakest link is. Can you guess what we're thinking? Lee says, will he be so brave as to do a reshuffle? Yeah, he will. He'll surround. Some of the people that he's surrounded himself with have shown themselves not to be quite as incompetent as he expected. So he'll get rid of those people. Toot sweet. Keith tweets, when bunting runs out, I suggest using billions of blue face masks, which Matt Hancock purchased. Hey, how's that Matt Hancock comeback tour working out for him?
Fabulous.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. No success so far. Martin texts, the rise in energy prices won't concern me. I tapped into the lamppost outside. It's going to be a right cosy winter at my gaff. You're all invited. Don't do that, Martin. Patrick says, Friday announcement, we are expecting another baby. Yuck, says Patrick. No, it ain't that either. Who's he expecting another baby with? Oh, I see. Sue says, has Boris discovered he has an identical twin? It was his twin who had the parties, so it's all right now. We can move on. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he came out with that either. 0345 6060 973. Let's see. Dunmo. Hello, Martin.
Hi, Nick.
Martin.
Yeah, Nick, the thing I've been waiting for a while now for him to do, and I'm surprised he hasn't yet, is bring back the death penalty.
The death penalty?
Yeah.
For anyone who disagrees with the dear leader?
Yeah, well, treason, he could call it, and that means, like, disrespecting Brexit or being too woke or something like that, and that'll be it.
Yeah, and excess of wokeness will get you dead. Yeah.
And Priti Patel could be the executioner. She could come out and slice the head off in a public place. I think that'd suit his fans down to the ground.
Well, yeah, we could make it into a TV show like The Golden Shot. Up a bit, left a bit, down a bit.
Centre, shoot, yeah.
Shoot, yeah. Good idea there, Mike. I think it would be very popular. Yeah. Huge ratings. Enormous. No, it ain't that. But thanks. 0345 6060 973. Jenny says, what's Bunter going to announce? He's granting independence to Scotland so we, the English, don't have to pay for them anymore. He just upset 5 million people there, Jenny, each of whom has a finger of complaint in the air to put you straight. May tweets, I'm American, I want a total guns ban. Until a couple of years ago, you could get guns in Walmart in certain states. Not anymore, but still very simple to go and grab a gun if you live in a ding-a-ling red state. Well, unless it's changed, or unless Oregon counts as a ding-a-ling red state, I think it probably does, doesn't it, Oregon? At least where I was staying. I spent a month in Oregon, up in the middle of nowhere, near, what was it called? Grants Pass, which sounds terrible in an English accent. You have to say it in an American accent, otherwise it just sounds odd. Grants Pass. Grants Pass. I spent a month in Grants Pass, which is like the middle of absolutely nowhere, in a shack. Sort of, imagine a serial killer's shack in the middle of nowhere, and that, after a very long story, which I won't bore you with, mostly because many of the details I can't actually say on the radio. I ended up there for a month, and you go to the supermarket in the middle of town, which wasn't really much of a town. It was just like a strip of a couple of shops, and all the dingalings from the mountains, all the mountain people would come down. All of those people, and they come down in their pickup trucks, because absolutely every one of them drove a pickup truck. It was like the law. And the pickup truck had a gun rack, sitting just behind the driver. A selection of weaponry with which to, greet any passerby. Or to correct someone who cut you up on the road. And you go into the supermarket, and right there by the beef jerky and the other survivalist foodstuffs was the gun department. Huge, not just a small amount of guns. They had everything you could possibly imagine. Right there. For all your death-dealing needs. So maybe they don't, in certain states, sell it in the supermarket anymore, but you want a gun in America? No problem. Stephen says, on the subject of gun control, the opening scene of Bowling for Columbine sees Michael Moore collecting a gun in return for starting a savings account from a bank. It does. That is correct. But I think that's not quite true. I think he bent the truth a little bit there in that scene. I have seen that film, and I do remember that. But I don't think a bank, because he walked out with the gun, didn't he? Which was kind of weird. You walk in with some money into a bank, and they give you a loaded gun over the counter. which you would think, well, what could possibly go wrong? But that's not actually what would happen in real life. I think they gave you a voucher for you to go away and buy a gun from somewhere else, something like that. But he filmed it as the bank teller was just handing a loaded rifle over the counter. That's not what happened in real life. I mean, they're crazy, but they're not that crazy. 0345 6060 973. Heathrow. Hello, Stuart.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Stuart.
Hello. The announcement on Friday.
Yes.
I have it on good authority that he's going to release 400 great white sharks into the channel to stop the boats coming over.
Stop the little boat people.
That's it.
That's a very good idea. Sharks with lasers, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. That's the announcement. I have it on good authority.
Good authority.
I know someone who lives in Australia said the Royal Navy were kidnapping great white sharks.
Is that right?
Great white. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like an excellent plan. What? Yeah. Thanks for the warning, Stuart.
Thank you.
Not going in.
Chuffed.
Yeah, I should be beside herself. Yeah. Another excellent reason not to go in the water. Thanks a lot, mate. Nope, that's not it. 0345 6060 973. So many texts and tweets. How many pages? Too many. I don't think I've even got past last night's yet. No, it's just too many. Stop writing to me, people. Alison texted, this is from last night, why don't we ask for our £40 billion spent on a test and trace app that didn't work? Yeah, we could have that back. Stick that up the NHS. Lizzie says, this morning I went to Tesco's and the petrol was 168.9 pence. I came out of the store 10 minutes later and it was 171.9. I fill up my car about once every 2 weeks. And the last time I did it, I skidded to a halt outside a petrol station because it actually said 159, 150 something. Whereas I've been passing petrol stations that said 163, 164, and so on and so on. And I did a little happy dance right there in the seat of my car because it was a Watusi, as a matter of fact. Just because I saw a petrol station selling it for 150 something. Now it's 170 something. What? 170. I saw 180 for diesel just coming in today. And that wasn't one of these bizarre sort of out of the way hippie petrol stations. This was just an ordinary run-of-the-mill petrol station. That's what it costs now. What's happening? 180? I think somebody's profiteering. I'm not going to point any fingers. But, Abby, and by the way, it seems as though there's, to my eyes, my ignorant eyes, it seems as though there's a bit of collusion going on here. How come it's all the bloomin' same? How come it's the same price everywhere you go? And they all go up at the same time as well. Curious. Abby texts, we can now see why, and on top of that, the government are making money hand over fist because the tax that they take does represent an enormous chunk of the price that we pay. And if the price goes up, then the tax goes up. What are they doing with that money? Filling suitcases.
Booze.
Abby says, we can now see why Boris got rid of John Bercow as the Speaker of the House. There is no way he would have tolerated half of what these dangerous nincompoops are doing, riding roughshod over the Constitution. This present Speaker is too docile, and Boris and his cronies know that. Hence, they favoured his nomination. Keir and the Shadow Cabinet need to start a type of guerrilla warfare with this lot. Fight fire with fire, so to speak, says Abby. Yeah. Except she's spelt guerrilla, Gorilla. Unless you actually mean a type of guerrilla warfare. I don't know how guerrillas, actually prosecute a war, but I bet it's pretty violently. Yeah, I'm with you. I miss John Bercow. I don't care what he did or who he shouted at or any of that. He was he was entertaining apart from anything else. He had a felicity with the language apart from anything else, and he kept people in their place. This guy, no, it's a no from me. Emily says, I think the Labour Party should find a seat to get Andy Burnham back in to stand. What? I think the Labour Party should find a seat to get Andy Burnham back in to stand for a seat in Parliament. Wow, complicated. And then fast-track him in as leader of the Labour Party to take on Bodge. He's like Tony Blair, but with principles. He's like Tony Blair, but with principles. Anne says, did you know that 6 years ago I was listening to LBC during the day and I remember a member of the Tory party rang LBC and said that they, the Tories, all joined the Labour Party before the leadership elections to vote for the worst possible candidate so that Labour can never get in. And I remember Labour MPs saying that it was marvellous that so many hundreds of thousands of people are joining the Labour Party before each leadership election. I hope that this never happens again. This is why we're under a right-wing dictatorship. Wow. 6 years ago, a member of the Tory party rang LBC and said that the Tories joined the Labour Party before the leadership elections to vote for the worst possible candidate. You're talking about Jeremy Corbyn, Uncle Jezza. So he said that members of the Tory party went undercover and joined the Labour Party to vote for Jeremy Corbyn to be the leader so that the Tories would maintain their grip on power. Wow, I've heard some conspiracy theories in my life, but that's a doozy. 0345 6060 973, text 84850, email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Hang about, Nick. Listen. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
0345 6060 973. It's remiss of me, but I'm still wiping up some texts and emails from last night. Not many to go. I have been doing some from tonight as well, though. Peter emails, Bodges is a government of mess up, then dead cat distraction. So it will go on and on in relentless cycles. Buckle up, says Peter. Jane says, you honestly never heard robust. It's pretty standard English. Well, I was talking about this last night. Every minister, you know what they're going to say before they say it. They all go around. It doesn't matter who it is. The few faces that get pushed out on a daily basis to go around the TV studios and the radio studios, and they all say the same blooming thing because they've learnt it by rote. Because they treat them like robots.
Affirmative.
And they just make them learn it like we used to learn our multiplication tables. 6 8s are 35. 7 8s are 42. Once you've learned it, you never forget it. And so they make them learn all this stuff, and that's why they keep saying the same thing over and over again. And they imagine that we don't notice. Oh, the Prime Minister got all the major calls right. How many times have you heard that? For crying out loud. He got none of the major calls right. 0 major calls were got right. He's concentrating on what the British people want. No, he isn't. He's trying to distract the British people. The vaccine rollout. The vaccine rollout was the only thing about the pandemic that went well, because it was the only thing about the pandemic that the government took its hands off and just let the experts do it. That's why it went well. It's the thing they had least to do with. And robust. That was the word of the day for, quite a long time there. Robust. And it's a word that I don't recall ever hearing come out of somebody's mouth before in my lifetime. And I must have heard it 1,000 times over the past few months. Everything is robust with these people. It's a robust response that we robustly want to continue robustly. And it's just on and on and on and on and on and on with the word robust. So I have heard of robust, Jane, but not used in that frequency. John says, wanting to be an MP should be enough to bar you from being an MP. Well, that's just good sense. I agree. I endorse that feeling. Ludlow. Hello, James.
Hiya, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good man. Yeah, it's just phoning in. I heard you going on about the story about guns in America, at the bank accounts.
Yeah.
At the bank, sorry. And I was over there in 2001 with my ex-partner now. And, yeah, it's true. If you actually went into this one bank, they give you a choice of, you could either, if you opened up an account, they gave you a choice of either a handgun or a double-barrel shotgun. I don't know whether they give you ammunition or not. I was only over there on holiday, but I just thought absolutely just ridiculous.
Yeah, but
they
did. Yeah, but they didn't actually hand it over the counter, though. Surely.
Like I said, I didn't actually.
Right.
I didn't actually.
You didn't take up the offer. Yeah.
No, I don't think I could bring that back to
which state was this?
This was in Florida.
Well, Florida. Say no more.
Says it all. Yeah, says it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought I'd verify that. Yeah, it's true. So you've probably got a voucher or something to go to the nearest gun shop. I think that's it.
Yeah, but that is exactly what I said. It didn't go down like Michael Moore showed in his film, where he just opened a bank account and they handed a loaded weapon over the counter to him. That's not what happened. I mean, like I said, they're crazy, but they're not that crazy. Not even in Florida, they're not that crazy. All right, thanks, James. 0345 6060 973. Last time I went to Florida, it was like open season on tourists. You came out the airport and you virtually had to run in a crouched position to your hire car, dodging bullets along the way. In fact, I think that Carl Hyacin, he's a journalist who used to write for the Miami Herald, I think, along with Dave Barry, who's very funny. He used to do the show with Clive James. He used to be the American correspondent. Dave Barry, he does really funny stuff. He used to write for the Miami Herald as well. But I think Dave Hyacin, I think I've got that name right. He actually wrote a book called Tourist Season, which was about just that. People, people in Florida taking against tourists. Don't know why. They bring in the money. Harvey says, did you enjoy Top Gun Maverick? I thought it was superb. Bye, says Harvey. Haven't seen it yet. Kay says, if our system was good and Sunak was clever enough, he would have given us all the same amount of money and then taxed it back from those who don't need it. We should not be depending on wealthy people giving this money away. All Sunak has done is increasing inequality even further, because even if the wealthy did give it away, they'd probably just give it to their family and or friends, says Kay. Mandy texts, instead of the Elizabeth line, why don't we call it the Jack line after our flag? I travelled the Elizabeth line just the other day, and it was a little bit disappointing because it's just a train. I was talking about this to Carol McGiffin on our podcast. We recorded it today.
Yeah.
Comes out Monday. It was a bit of a letdown. I don't know what I was expecting, something magical, but I hadn't really thought it through. It's just a train. I mean, it's a good train. The seats are a bit hard, is what I thought. There are those ironing board seats that you see on other overground trains. Not very comfortable, but the other trains have a little bit of a sponge to them when you sit down, for your area. But the new Elizabeth line trains like sitting on like wood. It looks comfortable before you plump yourself down on it, but don't let your knees go and just free fall, because you will get a jar up your spine. Let's have Woolwich. I believe that the train goes to Woolwich, doesn't it, Richard?
It does, and I was on it tonight, and I thought it was a fantastic journey. It was just I mean, I guess it's because I come from Woolwich, so you just get on that train and it was awesome. It was a beautiful train.
Very, very quick, and they're quite wide. There's a lot of space on them, but those seats are pretty hard, am I right?
Well, yeah, they are, but the thing is, it's only a sort of 20-minute journey from Woolwich to Tottenham Court Road.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
Amazing.
It's not, you don't have to get comfortable and snooze because you're going to be where you're going pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just kind of these announcements on there, and then you go into this kind of palatial Tottenham Court Road. It's just, I haven't been to the interchange at Tottenham Court Road. I just went Woolwich to Farringdon, which is very, very short. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that's a good. But hey, you mentioned also Dream Machine, and that's also at Woolwich.
That's
Woolwich
right.
Is in the news this week, right?
Yeah, well, that's why I was in Woolwich.
Well, and by the way, I saw Top Gun last night. I thought it was a brilliant movie.
I can't wait. I can't wait till Mission Impossible comes out because this sort of action adventure thing that's not directed at teenagers, because there's a lot of films that are got lots of explosions that are directed at teenagers, and I've got no time for them. But action adventure for adults, there's only really one person that's doing that now, and that's Tom Cruise. And the Mission Impossible thing, it's a two-parter apparently. How exciting is that? 2 films for the price of two. You're going to have to pay twice, but it does mean that there's not just one coming out. There's going to be 2. Excellent.
Yeah, but you do sit through it wondering what sort of cosmetic surgery he's had. Sorry, but you do. It's quite clearly that Top Gun. He's clearly done something to himself.
Well, don't spoil it for us, Richard. I think you're on the verge of spoiling it. Spoiler alert.
Warning.
I don't know, because I've seen him in crowds. I mean, you've seen pictures of him, doing his the glad handing thing that he does in crowds, and he didn't look like he'd had work done, because you can tell when people have had snips and so on, because their face looks too stretched. They look like aliens, but he still looks like a normal human being, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nick, can I just quickly say what it is I called for, which is the whole Johnson thing.
Yes.
And I just think that to me, this is classic Johnson. He's just creating this sort of press speculation, because the whole week the press will talk about what's going to happen on Friday. It's just pure. It's pure theatrics.
Yeah. I know what's going to happen.
Oh, go on, disclose.
Well, I've been teasing it for, I know, a good long while now, but I'm not just saying, what do you think is going to happen without me knowing. I know what he's going to say.
Is it something to do with the Queen's celebrations?
No, but he is going to insert himself in those celebrations in order to drag the spotlight back to himself.
Yeah,
Just think of the most risible, pathetic and desperate thing that he could throw to his fans, and you'll be on the right lines. But I will tell you in moments. Isn't it exciting?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Right, yeah. That's a very dangerous place to be. All right, thanks a lot, Richard. 0345 6060 973. It's 12:30 on LBC. The news headlines with Serena Farrow.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Oh, hello.
That guy. Hello. Right, what's Bodger going to say? Darren tweets, will the Bodge pass a law saying that every child at school will sing the national anthem every morning before lessons in front of a massive flag? Yes, almost certainly, but that's not it. Ick tweets, that's IKK. Ick tweets, he'll announce no more French lessons, but the return of Latin and Greek in every school across this great nation. Well, it's not really along those lines, but you're sort of going in the right direction. Jim says, I reckon the Bodge is going to announce a new trading bloc to rival the EU. Initially consisting of Britain, the Falkland Islands and Rwanda. That'll show them. Yeah, we're free to trade with Rwanda. Hurrah! Paul texts, is Bojo going to announce that he plans to transition to become a human being with a conscience? Well, let's think about that.
No.
No. Sean says, diesel is £1.82.9 a litre at most garages up here in most of Cumbria. Isn't that incredible? 182.9. Just rewind about 6 months and tell people that that's what's coming and they'll freak out. They just won't believe you. All you need is a time machine. 182.9. And what's the 0.9 for? I mean, come on. We know it's 183. It doesn't make it seem less. It's 182.9. What else do you ever buy that they sell in fractions of a penny? Huh? I mean, shoes are. They always used to sell. Shoes were $29.99 because $29.99 looks a lot less than £30, but it isn't. It's a penny. But once you're up to 182 for a litre of petrol or diesel, then the 0.9 ain't going to make never mind, is it? I mean, 182. It's the 8 part that you're concentrating on, not the 2. Don't matter if it's 182 or 183. Who are you kidding? Mike says, 100% true that. You could join for a fiver. Oh, this is the Labour Party. Join for a fiver and have a vote on the leader's election. It was the reason that Corbyn won and worked perfectly for the Tories. It was a suicidal policy from Labour. Well, I don't buy that. I mean, how come, if that's true, I've only read it here on texts that people are sending me? You'd think that with all of the excellent research that I do, that I would have come across that information before. But, the ideas that Uncle Jezza did propose were very, very popular with people until you told them that it was Uncle Jezza that said it. I did this many times over the year on this very show. I asked people, well, do you support this or that or whatever it might be, taxing the rich more and renationalising the railways and so on. And for all his manifesto pledges, people would say, oh, yeah, I agree with that. And then I'd say, but those were the pledges as per Jeremy Corbyn. And they'd say, what? and start backing away. So it wasn't the ideas, I think it was the man, and the people's attitude to the man were dictated pretty much by the offshore billionaire-owned press, who were frightened, of course, that he was going to look into the ownership of many newspaper titles in very few people's hands, which is why the owners freaked out and levelled their guns at him and pounded away till they did away with him. Alexandra tweets, I remember that story about the Tories trying to join Labour to vote for Jez. The Labour Party apparently vetted these applications and turned most of them down because they were so transparently fake, and stupidly so. It was definitely a thing back in the good old days of 2015. Huh. Well, they may have tried it, but there's no suggestion that they were actually successful in their endeavour. George says, is Bodger about to announce a well-deserved 50% pay rise for MPs? They've just given themselves a £2,000 pay rise, which of course will completely cover the cost of the fuel bill that's just gone up. Except they don't pay their fuel bills, do they? We do. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
Zoe texts, on Friday, Boris is going to admit that he is Prince Harry. Is it you, Bodge? James says, is Bodge going to dress up as Doctor Who and morph into Michael Fabricant? Or will he be Bond? Yeah, no, I think it's the Michael Fabricant thing. It seems to be the most likely of all of those options. They certainly seem to go to the same stylist, don't they? They seem to have the same hair stylist. Sarah says, Boris is going to walk the Queen's corgis and then announce another bank holiday for the Queen's Jubilee. No, that's many times that people have suggested that. I mean, that might be a very positive thing. Other countries get more bank holidays than we do. We get a pathetically small number of bank holidays. I mean, I don't actually like bank holidays much. It don't make no never mind to me. I work regardless. But, there's a lot of people who might, like the French, for instance, blimey. They get so many bank holidays that they barely need to show up for work ever. Not so here. So that would be popular, but they ain't going to do that. Pam says, I think that Bojo will throw in the towel when he goes bald. He won't be able to cope without his prop. I'll give it 4 months, says Pam. Well, I wonder what it looks like wet. And Julius says, talking of emojis, which we weren't, but I'm sure we were when Julius texted this. Have you seen that the Palace has come out with a jubbly emoji? Apparently it's a corgi wearing a crown. No, I have not seen that. And I seriously doubt that it's the Palace that designed that emoji, although you just never know these days. You just don't know. Oh, there it is. So is it? Where'd you get that?
The royal family have put it out.
Have they really?
On Twitter.
Oh, so cute. A little doggy with a crown on. Cute. The royal family have invented an emoji? Rubbish. No, they haven't. Kay says, is Boris going to announce a Johnson rail line? Nope. Is he going to rename number 10 as Ye Olde Down In Street? Says Budgie. No. He's going to build a garden bridge, says Joe. No, he'd been down that route. Failed. Which is disappointing, actually. I think it would have been a good addition to London's crossings, the garden bridge. It would have been done by, what's his name? That great designer, Thomas Heatherwick, who... he does superb stuff. I think he's got a tree outside Buckingham Palace, isn't he? It's a tree made of trees. I've seen the artist's impression of what it's going to be like, but I haven't seen what it's actually like in situ yet. I'm not going to go anywhere near there for a good long while because, well, if you haven't driven into the centre of London recently...
Warning!
It's shut. There's so many roads closed. I think it's a bike thing tomorrow. Bloomin' bikes ruin everything. They've closed pretty much the entirety of the centre of London for some bike thing. What is the bike thing tomorrow, do you know?
It's a big women's bike race.
Oh, like I said, I support this big women's bike race. I've said that all along. I was just mentioning how much I support it. Jan tweets, the real reason for John... Oh, no, I can't do that because that'd be letting the cat out the bag. Nikki says, last night Clive had a call from a Boris superfan. Clive kept asking her what he'd done right, and all she'd say is he's doing his best. It was like a parody of your impersonation, says Nikki. A parody of a parody. Leave him alone, he's doing his best. Which is alarming, actually. Is this you doing your best, Bodge? Yes. It's worse than we thought. This is him doing his best. Waz says, is Boris going to open another Peppa Pig World?
Peppa Pig World. Peppa Pig World it has Peppa Pig
is the right answer. Very good. I don't know. Somebody should strap him into one of those Peppa Pig teacup rides and just leave him there, spinning and spinning and spinning from now until the end of time. Peppa Pig World. How did you get there? By car? Yes, that's right. Very good. Joe says, Nick, can you hurry up and tell us? I need to go to sleep. Oh, I haven't been teasing you with it, have I? Oh, I apologise. I had no idea. I am very bad at this job. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
0345 6060 973. Boris Johnson plans a big announcement on Friday. He's trying to take our mind off the incredible concentration of criminality over at his place. It is the most fined address probably in the world. That's probably true, isn't it? The most fined address in the world is where Bodger Johnson lives and works. And when I say works, I mean that in the loosest possible sense. Just another work day over at his place. If they can make it to lunch without vomiting red wine up the wall, it's been an excellent work day. Jim says, Bodge is going to announce he's going to play the next James Bond. Nope. Shane tweets, did you see Nadine Dorris' rap video? Yes, I did. And I'm trying to forget every single little thing about it. Particularly the angle at which she filmed herself. Graham texts, Johnson's going to build a bridge to the moon. He's just waiting until it's nearer the Earth. Bruce says, is Bodger going to accompany Brian May on the roof of Buckingham Palace and sing God Save the Queen to the entire UK population? Pity help us, says Bruce. Brian May's not going to go on the top of Buckingham Palace and sing God Save the Queen to the entire UK population, is he? Brian May is going to sing.
Oh, no.
Is that wise? Is that actually going to happen?
I'm not sure.
We don't know. What are you asking us for? Brian May, out of Queen, is going to sing to the Queen. Right. But Brian May don't sing, though, does he? I've never heard Brian May sing. He can play the guitar all right.
Rock and roll!
But I'm not sure about the singing part. They should get Madness up there and do it. Didn't Madness appear on the roof of... they're probably still up there. On the roof of Buckingham Palace for some... I can't remember what it was. A little while ago. Grace Jones did the hoop thing, didn't she? She was great. A little bit scary, but great. Catherine says, will Boris get rid of learning German and French in schools? I think somebody said something quite similar to that. No, that ain't it. Debs says, can other-sized women enter the bike race tomorrow or just big women? Yeah, I think you got the wrong end of the stick there, Debs. Deliberately, I suspect. It's not a big women's bicycle race. It's a big women's bicycle race or event. It's not a race necessarily. It's an event. They've closed off the whole of the centre of London. It took forever to find a parking place.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
I mean, they didn't just close a few roads. They closed all of them. As in, all of them. For a bike event. Grant says, Brian May sings the first half of Who Wants to Live Forever. Well, I never want to hear that song again. You know, there's some Queen songs that are just like, no thanks. Particularly the one that they did with David Bowie. I don't know what David Bowie was thinking of, but the what do you call them? The combinations that he did. That's not the right word, but the collaborations that he did were among the worst things that Bowie actually recorded. I'm particularly thinking about the one with Mick Jagger.
Oh, no.
Oh, dancing in the streets. No, it's a no from me. Right. Well, there's not much left but to tell you what it is. Do you want me to tell you now? Or I could tell you later. This Friday, Boris Johnson's going to make a big announcement, huge. He wants to take our mind off what he has done. Of every single thing we know about him, he wants us to forget. I mean, he keeps telling us to forget it. He keeps telling us to move on, that we are no longer interested in that. But we are. And so they keep coming up with different ways to distract us. I mean, pretty soon he's going to post us all an actual dead cat. But nothing so far has worked. Nothing that they have tried has worked. So they're bringing out the big guns now and they're giving us money. trying to distract us with something shiny, like a coin. But that didn't seem to work either. People just got irate about that, because rich people are going to get the money too, and fishy Sunak waffled on about, you can give it away to charity. Well, that's neither here nor there. Give money to charity if you like, fishy. You can afford it. It's basically given a bung to the energy giants, is what it is. It's making sure that they can guarantee what they will be earning, because otherwise, if we didn't get that money, people wouldn't be able to pay their electricity bills, and those companies might go out of business because they wouldn't be able to, plan for it. But now they are securing their income. So it's just another bung for the rich, dressed up as doing good to the poor, which, of course, they refused to do until the Sue Gray report came out. And then they were backed into a corner and they started chucking money at us to try to take our mind off it. Well, Boris Johnson then misconstrued the entire point of the report, which was that he was guilty. And he said, I've read it from cover to cover and I'm completely innocent of all charges. Totally innocent. Liar! Yeah. So, they tried money, and now they're bringing out the big red meat for their most vociferous fans. And that's what the announcement's going to be on Friday. Let's see if this person has a clue as to what it is that we're about to be told. Yorkshire. Hello, Mike. Oh, hang on a minute. I haven't put... my fault entirely. There he is. Mike.
Hi, Nick. Good morning.
Mike.
Yeah, I think that this is a Johnson alliteration thing, because we've had the Boris bike, the Boris bus, Boris bridge, Boris bazooka, and I think we're about to get the Boris beer glass. I think that when you combine that with the Jubilee and the Queen, which is the Crown, Johnson is going to announce that every drinking receptacle in UK has to have etched on it a crown and Boris.
Well, they could etch his face into the bottom of the glass so that the more you drink, the more you can see the dear leader.
Absolutely subliminal messaging like they did in the cinemas.
Smart.
Every time you have a drink, you thank Boris for your drink.
Smart thinking there. It's going to go on all of the glasses.
Booze.
Yeah. Very, very close, as a matter of fact. Very close. Now, did you just come up with that off the top of your head, or did you have a clue as to what it was from some other means?
You gave us a clue because you said that he was going to try and usurp the Jubilee and insert himself in between. So that meant that it had to be something connected with the, as I say, the Crown or the royal family and old tactics. It's just trying to distract and trying to promote himself.
Well, yes, it is trying to distract. It is trying to promote himself. But I think you read too much into what I said. I didn't actually mean anything by it. And don't imagine that I'm giving you secret clues. That is beyond my ability. that would require me thinking, outside the box. And I'm barely capable of thinking inside the box.
As a psychologist, you're a shrewd guy, Nick.
Yeah, as a psychologist, I'm a great talk show host. Right. Okay, here it is. Are you ready? Prepare yourself. This Friday, Boris Johnson is planning to announce that imperial measurements will be revived to mark the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. He will announce that shops in this country will be allowed to sell products in pounds and ounces. Because that'll solve our problems. No more need we worry about the cost of living crisis and getting blown up by root and toot. We'll be able to buy things in ounces. Of course, a lot of people never stop buying things in ounces.
Want to score some pot?
But we don't want to talk about that. Can you believe it, Mike? You were almost right.
Yeah, I didn't think deep enough.
No, that's right. You must think more deeply. Yeah. All right. Well done, that man. Thanks for that. You win nothing, by the way, if that's any consolation.
Yeah, it's a pleasure listening to you.
All right. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Boris Johnson is planning to announce that imperial measurements will be revived to mark the Queen's Jubilee. Shops will henceforth be allowed to sell products in pounds and ounces. Ministers are going to make an announcement, Bodge himself, on imperial measures this Friday to coincide with celebrations for the Queen's 70 years on the throne. Downing Street will hope it shores up support among key Brexiteer voters in battleground seats, which the Tories are currently in danger of losing come the next election. I am stunned. This is the low to which we have gone. How's Brexit going, by the way?
Brexit's going great.
Glad to hear it. Since 2000, when the EU Weights and Measures Directive came into force, traders have been legally required to use metric units for the sale by weight or measure of fresh produce. But, of course, it's still legal to price goods in pounds and ounces. They just have to be displayed alongside the price in grams and kilograms. So he's not actually giving us back anything that we don't have. We've still got that. And of course, because it happened in 2000, anybody under the age of 40 won't have any idea what a pound or an ounce is. Which means that he is directly aiming this at his fans, his aged fans. Metric units are not expected to be scrapped, but traders are likely to be free to choose which they use following a government study. A government study. Yeah, they studied Brexit in great depth, trying to find something positive to say about it, and they couldn't, so they came up with this. And by they, I mean Smug.
I don't know anything.
Say it again.
I don't know anything.
One more time.
I don't know anything.
He doesn't know anything. And this ain't new news, of course. This is just a rehash of what he's told us before. In 2019, the general election campaign, Bodge claimed that measuring in pounds and ounces was an ancient liberty. And he heralded a new era of generosity and tolerance towards traditional measurements. This is actually happening to us right now. Can you believe it?
No.
I am stunned. Pounds and ounces, that's the big reveal on Friday, coming to a location near you. Jan says the real reason for Johnson's swerve back to Imperial is that 20 stone sounds smaller than 127 kilos, which sounds about right. I'm going to be back with my normal show, not my normal abnormal show. You've just been listening to my normal abnormal show. My normal show tonight at 10. Ian Payne at 4. First, Clive Bull.
Nick, thank you very much. And coming up after the news at 1 o'clock, a few questions for you. With polls pointing to a potential hung parliament after the next general election, would you welcome deals between parties, or would you fear a coalition of chaos? And as Labour's Ben Bradshaw appears to suggest voters go Lib Dem at the Tiverton by-election, is tactical voting now a necessary part of modern politics? Would proportional representation be a better way? And we'll look at these reports suggesting Boris Johnson wants to go back and embrace imperial measurements. We'll talk about that and much more. Do join in 0345 6060 973.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 1 o'clock, Labour will push for a vote on Boris Johnson's decision to change the ministerial code in a move his critics say waters down rules. When Parliament returns from its break, marking the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, they plan to use an Opposition Day debate to encourage Conservative MPs to vote and rebel against Mr Johnson's changes. Holidaymakers are angry after being stuck at Gatwick Airport as EasyJet cancelled more than 200 flights. The airline claims it'll affect about 24 flights a day between now and the 6th of June. Others have also announced cuts to services because of operational difficulties. But the chair of Cornwall Airport, Tim Jeans, says it's all due to a lack of staff.
Possibly all of us underestimated is how tight the labour market was going to be when we came out of the pandemic. So, yes, a lot of staff, unfortunately, were let go. And, of course, on the assumption that when the conditions eased, we'd be able to get them back. But, of course, that's not been the case. There are other jobs, other careers, and people have settled into those.
Claims that details of an alleged Downing Street flat party were removed from Sue Gray's investigation into COVID rule breaking has been denied by Number 10 sources. The Sunday Times reports the senior civil servant who delivered her 37-page report into events during England's lockdown said pressure placed on her by senior members of the Prime Minister's team to remove certain details and names. Liverpool Football Club has called for an investigation after hundreds of fans were unable to get into the Champions League final with Real Madrid despite having tickets. The match was delayed for more than half an hour. LBC's reporter Chris Chambers, who's in Paris, says there was a great deal of commotion beforehand.
Riot police fired tear gas after fans were accused of getting to the ground late. There's also reports of clashes with police here outside the fan zone in the middle of Paris. There is definitely pepper spray in the air. I can feel it in my eyes and throat, and people have been walking around with tissues and scarves over their mouth and nose.
That game ended where Real Madrid won 1-0. And works started to prevent pollution after a fire on a super yacht carrying around 8,000 litres of fuel, which later sank in a marina. Firefighters battled for hours, though, to try and put it out yesterday afternoon in Torquay. LBC weather feeling cooler than yesterday with a few showers around, particularly in East Anglia and South Wales, a high of 15. From Global's newsroom for LBC, I'm Serena Farrow. 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 I'm Serena Farrow.